Hey everybody, welcome back to the garage. If you are into restoring old cars or just tinkering with older cars, you know that a lot of the times it's just a sad story. The way these cars get abandoned and then forgotten about and fall into disrepair, sometimes it's a real bummer. And sometimes, when it takes a long time to get them going, like this one has, it can be a little depressing. And then somehow another one appears in your life that is even more depressing. Our original 1984 200SX here is a nice, complete car-ish, but it's actually missing a good amount of stuff. So if we look inside, we can see that, yeah, it's certainly well used, but also somebody went in here and started ripping out the interior for whatever reason. And when it comes to cars like this, you're not going to easily track all of those individual pieces down. You basically need to find a whole set. And after we discovered that the differential on our car is very broken, or trying to be very broken, and is on its way there, I started poking around to see if there was any available parts or differentials, or maybe. So today we're going to make the decision of when it's time for a car to meet its end. In all honesty, this is not a part of the process that I particularly enjoy. I get pretty attached to my projects, and I don't want to see any of them meet their maker. And you start to, fall in love with the car itself, like, I don't know, the make of car, the model of car, and especially when it's something like these S12s that was particularly not loved and then becomes super scarce, scarce. I don't know. I'm not a wordologist. It's just a little depressing to see, one go to the crusher. So today I'm going to try to justify the fact that this car has reached that time. In front of us here is a 1985 Nissan 200SX. It is a turbo model, even though it does not have the hood bump that says turbo on it. If you swing around to the back here, it does have the turbo moniker on the spoiler. And it is basically the same exact car. I believe they gave it a slight refresh for 85 because in 85, they dropped the Datsun. No more Datsun alongside the Nissan. So this car comes to be because I found it on Marketplace. I showed it to ZK and my group of enablers, and it was basically just a Goldilocks situation of it has the same differential. The differentials are very, very rare for these cars. If we wanted to find one to replace it, especially one that was an upgrade to replace it, it would be $1,000 to thousands of dollars. It's pretty crazy that this goofy little open R200 differential, which should be a super common piece, really. R200s are in so many things, including R240, that it's such a rare piece, but it's just got a different case. It's got a longer nose, it's got different hubs, the axle's attached very differently. It's just kind of a bespoke piece to these cars. This car was listed at $1,000. It had no engine, no transmission, and no title, which I thought was a little much for a car with no title, but I think we're just the only people in the world that desperately needed this car to save our own project. Let me go ahead and close the window, get the light levels to be mildly decent in here, and I'm going to justify to you why this car was necessary, and why it's probably necessary for it to go to the great future washing machine yard in the sky. All right, let's start with the things we need from this car, or things we want from this car. Number one, this headlight lens, or driving light lens, I guess you would say. This blinker lens. These side skirts. We have all of the pieces to the side skirts for our car, except the actual side skirts. This one is missing some of the corners, but it has both side skirts. One of them's got a nick in it, but we can definitely fix that, and it is way better than what we had, which was nothing. Somehow, it still has this corner light that I broke on the other car, and it has two of them, so, I can break it twice. And, of course, I already covered the differential, which is under there. It is complete, but mostly the stuff that I'm going to want off this car is inside. Inside this car, we uncovered quite a history of bugs, for one. Hi. Sorry I moved your home. And just a good amount of history as to why this car is the way it is. Between this cup and the CDs, I don't know why there was a CD, but mostly cassette tapes, as well as some cards from previous owners. This car has legitimately not run, not been on the road, not been registered, not done anything since 1995. We got a cool Alabama plate here to add to my collection, but this car, we got a very little bit of story on it from the, I guess the previous owner, but not really previous owner. It seems like somebody pulled this out of a junkyard and got a little history on it, but here's what we know and here's what we can deduce. So pretty much the story that we got is that in 95 or whatever, the original owner of the car had the engine blow up, and a grandson or somebody years down the line was going to try to get it going, and the engine and transmission were removed. And that's pretty much as far as anything went. We have some things in here that will back that up, like somebody was trying to keep track of bolts and whatnot. But there's also some stuff in here that really doesn't line up. Is anybody looking for Pink Floyd The Wall on cassette? The main bit that makes me go, I don't know if your story's adding up there, is under here. I can tell that this was a yanked out of here engine and drivetrain. Like they just ripped out the heart of this car. It also has some marker pen markings on here that lead me to believe that a junkyard is who ripped out the drivetrain. It probably did blow up in 95 or had some kind of mechanical issue. As you can, tell by our heartaches getting one of these going. They're a lot to handle, and not a lot of people want to put the time into them. A junkyard pulled this motor out, and unfortunately they did one of the most heinous acts of butchery that drives me insane. We don't have a lot of light in here, but if you can see back there, they cut the wiring harness right at the ECU in order to get the ECU out of it, which is incredibly rude and incredibly lazy. This ECU has 3 connectors on it. All you have to do is unplug them, and you could have saved this wiring harness. Such a shame. Such an absolute stupid thing to do. I haven't actually looked at the cluster. Looks like we are sitting at 160,000 miles. I don't know if that's going to try to focus or not. Looks like it did. So this one actually has a little bit more miles on it than our car. But somehow, I would say this thing was left in a garage somewhere. It is more complete and, I would say, in better shape interior-wise than our car. So back to our list. Things we want. Number 1, I want this radio. Ours has the computer system that gives you miles per gallon. That doesn't work in our car, and we don't have an original radio. I love the look of this radio, and especially with the equalizer, so I will definitely be putting that in our car. I'm missing this steering wheel 200SX badge that you can't get. I need this headlight stock because ours has a short in it. I'm missing some of these trim pieces for the mirror, as well as this reflector light in our car. But the big one is we're missing everything back here. We were missing seat belts, we're missing the trim pieces, we're missing the actual rear seats in this 2-year only fabric, so they're kind of hard to find. And we're missing that parcel shelf back there. This car has the sunroof cover that screws into the sunroof right here. And it has the original tool bag back there. There is a lot of original stuff in here. I wish it was in better shape. Somebody let a bottle of Marvel Mystery Oil explode all over this back seat. What's in it? Well, you know. Our car does have a spoiler on it. However, the spoiler on our car is not attached, and it is missing all of its mounting hardware. So I will be probably taking this spoiler off and putting it on the other car. But yeah, this is the stuff, like, never going to find it. These speaker covers, this parcel shelf. Is that, like, very British of me to say parcel shelf? I don't know. Like I said, none of it's in amazing shape, but it is here. It exists. We can refinish things like that trim piece, and we can try to enclose the back of the car again, because what I'm trying to make is a cruiser. We're not trying to make a race car, and I want it to, you know, have all of those attributes. I want to be able to put a car seat in the back of the thing and go on a fun adventure with the Bean. They may not have taken perfectly good care of this car, but you know, at least they were being safe. So I know at least one person out there is like, you're just gonna take the parts off of this car and junk it? That seems sad. This car is, you know, nice and complete. Why don't you fix this one up? A, obviously I don't have the money or the time to do that. B, these are not, unfortunately, super loved cars, so I don't think I'm gonna find anybody that will want to. And C, the car is actually very, very rough. Let's go over some of the body issues that this car has. Dented panel number 1. Dented panel number 2. Dented panel number 3. Dented panel number 4. Dented panel number 5. Dented panel number 6. Dented panel number 7. Dented panel number 8. Dented panel number 9. And it's really hard to get it on camera. Maybe there's some light angles. The entire car has significant hail damage. There's just little marks of hail damage all over the hood, all over the roof. And I'm sure there's some in this hatch as well. It's just not a car. It's hard. It's really hard. It's not a car that anybody is going to take the time to restore. The body issues with this means that it will never be a clean example, and the mechanical issues mean that it doesn't really have enough good bones in it to turn into like a Rally X car or whatever, a gambler car even. It doesn't have enough stuff left. They ruined the engine harness. They ruined the electronics, like that MAF has just been open to the elements forever. They cut all of the vacuum lines and basically just hacked the engine out. It's too far. It's just too much, I'm afraid to say. It is too much, I think, for anyone to want to do. So I do believe by the time I get everything I want off of the car, there's going to be so little left that I'm not going to be able to get anybody to take it. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go through and take off everything on this car that I think is worthwhile. Every piece of plastic that I can get off without it breaking, every lens, things like that windshield washer bottle. Actually, I think I need the windshield washer bottle. Just kidding. The coil assembly. Hell, we might need that for our car. I don't know. It still doesn't. The ignition system is still messed up on our car, but if not, somebody is going to want that. The power steering reservoir lines, the AC lines. This was an AC car. I will put those up on a shelf. Things like the wiper motor, that vacuum pump that is, I'm sure, irreplaceable. It's got mirrors. This car has a digital dash. If I can get that dash to actually come on and work, then that thing is worth a fortune. The dashboard in this car is completely crack-free. I may try to remove it and put it in our car. I don't know. Either way, I'm going to remove it. Odds are when I go to remove it, something is going to happen where it cracks, because that's typically what happens with these. But it's got a good surround there. This is like the cluster surround. There's so many good parts. This door panel is in pretty decent shape. So yeah, I'm going to go through here. I'm going to do my best to remove everything I can for the sake of somebody out there is going to need it and want it. I'm going to go ahead and pull this set of wheels off of here and keep them. Maybe, who knows, somewhere down the line we'll be able to use this as rallycross wheels. I don't know if I like these more than the wheels on the 84, but it seems like these are perhaps 85 only wheels, so there's probably not a lot of them rocking around. And then, of course, all these side skirt pieces that we don't need, I will save. You can see the bumpers are in decent shape. This car has painted bumpers. I'm going to keep the black bumpers on our car, even though I know people prefer the painted ones. It's more authentically an 84 to keep them the black ones in our car. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff on here that I think will serve someone very well. I'll probably try and take some of the glass out, like the window glass, the quarter glass. I'd like to save the hatch. And the hatch glass, that might be more than I can physically do by myself and store by myself. Taillights aren't in great shape, but a lot of the plastics are in good shape, and they're probably better than what somebody out there has. I'll end up with an extra spoiler. Somebody out there is going to want that spoiler. I bet you between the spoiler and if we can get the cluster to prove to work, that's two pieces alone that are almost worth what we have purchased the car for, minus the stuff we're taking off of it. So hopefully this all works out, and I guess stay tuned for an update in the future. I'll show you what this looks like all stripped down, and I'm going to set up a shelf here in the garage. I got to clean up the garage first, and then just pile everything that I think is of value from this car on it. If you're watching this and you are a 200SX person and you need something off this car, please let me know. I'm not looking to make a killing on this stuff. I just want it to go to people that need it, because I want to see as many of these cars get saved as possible. Oh, I forgot to say that I think between these two seats, I'm going to be able to make a set of seats for mine that are in pretty mint shape. The bottom of the driver is really good. The back of the passenger is really good. So I think I'll be able to combine those into one good seat for our car. So that'll give us two good shaped seats. Sadly, it does not have a working glove box latch. I guess those all failed. Drippy, 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 drippy. All right, so that's where we're at. That's what it's going to be. That'll be my project for, I guess, the summer here, is stripping this car down and then sending it to meet its maker. All right, fire off those comments. Let me know if you think I'm a bad person or not for basically stripping this car down for the betterment of our project. My view is these were two completely abandoned cars that were going to get scrapped. If I can make one live out of the two of them, then I've done something good for the history of this car. Thank you to all of my ridiculous followers on Twitch and YouTube. Basically, immediately made this happen. Thank you to ZK for spending 3 straight days, I think, driving basically from Texas to Alabama to North Carolina, picking up the car, bringing it here, helping me get it unloaded, and driving back. That's nuts. That's mental. You're not right in the head, but I appreciate the fact that you are the enabler of this crazy hobby of mine that I guess I need. And that's that. All right. Until we meet again here, stay tuned on Twitch. I'll be live streaming the disassembly of this car because I think that's probably more fun for people to watch than assembly of things, to be honest. So if you're into that kind of stuff, follow me over there. Cone Dodger 240 on Twitch. See ya.